Hello, I'm JediAmanda with Beyond the Game, and today I am here at PAX West with MC Frontalot.
Hello!
Wait, because you've been asked this 50 zillion times, I don't think I have to really explain who this gentleman is. He does Nerdcore, correct?
Your inquisitive tone suggests that you do need to ask who I am.
Your concert was the first time I'd ever experienced Nerdcore.
How'd it go?
I thought it was awesome.
Right on.
Yeah, I can connect with a lot of the subjects that you were rapping about.
That was indeed rapping.
Okay, see, as someone who does classical music, I'm out of my element here. So, How long does it take you to create a piece of what I say music? Is it like a...
Of course it is music, yes. Yeah.
Okay, how long does it take? I see the fear in your eyes, I'm sorry.
I work with Bad Spella. I have for many years. He's a Canadian gentleman. We work long distance together. He develops a lot of the beat material, particularly drum patterns, drum programming. I work with my tour drummer, Sturgis, in the studio. So we'll go and do a session at the beginning of an album cycle, and I'll record just hours of him improvising different beat patterns. And then making a song is a process of chopping that stuff up, incorporating stuff that Spella's already been working on. A lyric writing might take only a few nights.
Oh, okay.
A recording, like the main vocal recording, might be a couple afternoons in the studio, and then 30 hours of comping and another 40 hours of mixing. But there's all kinds of stuff that go into the songs. I'll bring my collaborator Gabi Alter in, and he'll improvise a lot of keyboard parts, and I'll chop those up. Hip-hop is a sort of a recombination art. You know, you take bits of music and create new music from them. But because I never license samples from anybody, I'm sourcing all the music domestically, as it were. As well, so it's sort of like I'm inventing songs that don't exist and then sampling those. But I used to get a record out every 18 months, so that would be about 7 months of making the record.
Okay. If I may ask, is
Something
this
like that.
full time for you now? Because I know a lot of
Has been
musicians.
for about 10 years, yeah.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Everyone I've talked to, they're still getting to that level.
Sure.
So, okay.
I've been very, very fortunate.
Yeah.
I've also been fortunate to have wanted to make a kind of music nerdcore, which appeals to people with ridiculously lucrative tech jobs.
Yeah, no.
So they come around and are very generous with the merch. Like selling the music, doing the tours, that wouldn't pay the rent in Brooklyn, I think. But the merch over as a whole,
That's
because
where
the
you bring
fans are so generous, has been sustainable.
Okay. If I can ask, you don't have a background in music previously, like a degree in some random fine art school that I can't pronounce, right?
The more unpronounceable, the better, as fine
Supposedly.
art schools go. No, I don't. I studied English and writing and fiction writing and verse writing, which is my job in part. I was always a music production hobbyist. I kind of came at it from that angle, being interested in home recording, and as the technologies kind of ripened very quickly
And I'm sure
in the late 90s and early aughts. And I started making the hip-hop tracks as exercises in home studio production. And I was just so excited about how easy it suddenly was to make stuff that sounded like it had been made in a studio.
that's always exciting. You don't have to, spend $4,000 or $5,000 going somewhere and then having.
Yeah,
you
you had to really think you were going to. In 1995, to make something that sounded like a piece of studio music, you had to do it in a studio, pretty much. And to do that, you had to be pretty sure. You either had to be rich, you had to be sure that it was going to be worth it. to go spend all that money to make something like that in a studio. You had to think you were going to make it back, or else you were, doing a delusional vanity project. But instead, you can do your delusional vanity projects for no money. They're like neither delusional nor all that vain. They're just something you enjoy doing. So I kind of came at it from that angle and lucked out, and the fan base built up and went from a hobby into a career.
Okay. How did it, well, normally the question I would ask is how did it feel going from, fan to peer, but it seems like you've been a peer of musicians forever. Do you have other musicians going up to you and being like, oh my god, I know you're amazing? Does that happen?
I have been surprised to meet musicians who I've known about for a long time or been fans of, who were aware of the project or even liked it, That does happen from time to time. It's always exciting.
Okay. All right.
I went to a Glenn Phillips concert in Boston 10 years ago, because I had seen on MySpace that he had listed me among, you had to type in all the bands you like,
yeah.
and when you made a MySpace page. You're probably too young to know what MySpace is.
Excuse me, sir.
But
I'm like 25.
It was about like 25, 30 years ago when MySpace. No, I'm kidding. But then I saw that somehow, that Glenn Phillips had listed me as, I'm like, that can't be a real Glenn Phillips account. There it was. And then I wrote to him like, you really? And he was like, oh yeah, dude.
And then you were officially cool.
And then he put me on the list, and then he like covered part of my song Braggadocio during his set at Passim in Cambridge, I think. That felt like that was going to be the high point.
Do you still get nervous when you go on stage? Like, you've been doing this forever. You were like...
I get nervous going on live TV.
Okay.
That's like, you screw that up, you're like in HD forever, having screwed up. And on stage is like, well, concert's long. Any one moment that you ruin is lost in the noise of it, and there's another one tomorrow night where probably you'll screw up a different part and feel better. But there are still live events that will make me nervous. Like I tour with my friends Wheatus sometimes in England, and they play in front of huge crowds, and I'll go guest with them on a song or something, and I will still kind of get worried I'm gonna screw something up. But playing for my normal crowds is like kind of old hat at this point.
Okay, and everyone's having a good time, so I'm sure that
Yeah, if we're doing it right, I think they are.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope this wasn't super epically boring. Look of fear in your eyes, and I was like, first time I heard, your concert, so I should have came more prepared. Well, thank you very much for taking this time out to talk to a tiny studio who thinks you're cool.
Thanks for asking.
No problem. Thank you, and this is JediAmanda with Beyond the Game.